If you're watching this, chances are your child has been sick more times than you can count lately. Maybe you've tried everything. You've done the vitamins, essential oils, probiotics, even that pricey immune booster your friend swears by. And yet, your child just keeps getting sick. The antibiotics help for a little while, but before you know it, you're right back where you started. You're exhausted, they're miserable, and deep down, you know there has to be a better way. Here's what nobody tells you. You're doing everything right, just in the wrong order. It's like trying to remodel a house while the foundation is cracked. No matter how nice the upgrades are, nothing is going to hold. And the same goes for your child's health. You can stack up all the supplements and the natural remedies that you want, but if their nervous system or the foundation of their body is stuck in stress mode, none of it can work the way it should. So let's talk about how to raise healthy kids naturally, from the ground up. Now we see this story every single week in our office. Parents come in doing what I lovingly call the medicine cabinet shuffle. They've tried remedy after remedy, therapy after therapy, chasing temporary relief. They've been told their child will simply grow out of it, or to just keep adding more interventions. So picture this. Mom brings in 3-year-old son. He's been sick 6 times since the beginning of college football season. Every time, it's another trip to urgent care. Every time, another round of antibiotic. The symptoms clear for a week or two, then it starts all over again. Ear infections, congestion, constant respiratory struggles. Mom's exhausted, he's frustrated, and she feels like she's failing, even though she's tried everything. She's done the probiotics, the vitamin D, the vitamin C, the elderberry, the essential oils, the dietary change, all of it. Some things help a little, but nothing sticks. That's when she comes to us. Not because she's given up, but because she's realized something deeper must be going on. Now, research actually backs up what we see in our practice. Studies show that children who receive antibiotics before the age of 2 are more likely to struggle with things like asthma, eczema, celiac disease, obesity, and even ADHD later on. One study found that kids who had antibiotics in the first 6 months of life had a 40% higher risk of developing allergies by age 7. But here's the truth those studies don't explain. Antibiotics aren't the enemy. They can be life-saving when they're truly needed. The problem is that we keep treating symptoms, ear infections, coughs, fevers, without ever asking, well, why is the immune system struggling in the first place? We're caring for the signs, not the cause. And when we look closer, the root cause almost always comes back to the nervous system. In the Journal of the American Osteopathic Association, reports that roughly 90% of healthy newborns have what's called somatic dysfunction. So this is basically physical stress patterns at birth. That means 9 out of 10 babies start life already carrying tension and stress in their nervous system. Then there's the vagus nerve. This is one of the most important players in the immune system. Research in the journal Gut found that when vagal tone, that's the strength and activity of the vagus nerve, is low, immune regulation suffers. So kids with poor vagal tone get stuck in this cycle of chronic inflammation and weak immune responses. And then another study in Cell, Host, and Microbe found that early antibiotic use doesn't just wipe out bacteria, it disrupts the entire communication network between the gut and the immune system. So when that signaling breaks down, your child's immune system can't develop properly. So that's why at E320 Chiropractic, we often say it's like trying to fill a bucket that has holes in it. So you keep pouring in supplements, pouring in medications, pouring in healthy foods, but until you patch the holes, the neurological stress, the bucket never fills. Parents aren't failing, they're just working out of order. And that's what we're going to fix today. So let's start with what I call the 5 foundational pillars of health. And the first, the most important, is the nervous system. Now, your child's nervous system is like an air traffic controller. It coordinates everything. So immune responses, digestion, sleep, and even behavior. And it's made up of 2 main branches. We have the sympathetic system, which handles things like the fight or flight or stress response, and the parasympathetic system, which handles rest, digest, and heal. Now, when the nervous system gets stuck in stress mode, that sympathetic dominance, everything changes. The immune system stops coordinating properly. The body literally can't heal the way it's supposed to. But think about it. If your body thinks it's running from a tiger, it doesn't care about fighting off a cold. It just wants to survive. That's why we see kids with chronic ear infections, constipation, reflux, and immune struggles all tied together. The nervous system runs every system. And when it's under constant stress, those systems stop functioning normally. This is why chiropractic care is so foundational. It's not about treating ear infections or asthma, but it's about restoring communication between the brain and the body so your child can function and heal the way they're designed to. Now, the second pillar is sleep. Sleep isn't just rest. It's when your child's body does its most important healing work. During deep sleep, the immune system releases cytokines that help fight infection and reduce inflammation. The brain clears out toxins through something called glymphatic system, which only activates during deep sleep. Growth hormone is released during that time too, repairing tissues and supporting metabolism. When kids don't sleep well, everything suffers. Digestion, immune strength, emotional regulation, even growth. And here's the connection back to pillar 1. If the nervous system is dysregulated, your child can't fully relax. They toss and turn, wake up often, or never reach that deep restorative sleep where real healing happens. Now, the third pillar is movement and play. Movement literally builds the brain. So when babies roll, they crawl, they walk, they're not just learning to move, they're actually building neural pathways and activating their vestibular and proprioceptive systems. Research shows that movement drives immune and brain development. The lymphatic system, which moves immune cells throughout the body, doesn't have its own pump, so it actually relies on movement. So when kids sit too long or spend too much time in containers or on screens, their lymph flow is really slow, and so does immune function. We're even seeing developmental milestones being pushed back. Crawling is no longer considered a milestone by the CDC, and walking has been extended to 18 months. But changing the chart doesn't change biology. Kids are meant to move, and their health depends on it. Now, the fourth pillar is nutrition. I always tell parents, food can either be your child's medicine or their biggest stressor. Processed sugar suppresses immune function by as much as 50% for several hours after eating. Artificial dyes, preservatives, and packaged processed foods, they stress the nervous system and contribute to inflammation. But here's the good news. This isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. 80% clean, nutrient-dense foods and 20% real life is a good goal. Focus on whole foods. Shop the perimeter of the grocery store. Read labels. If you can't pronounce an ingredient, you should probably skip that one. We want colorful, whole foods, water over sugary drinks, and a focus on what nourishes the body rather than deprives. The fifth and final pillar brings everything together. Neurologically focused chiropractic care. Because when the spine is misaligned or stuck, it creates interference in the nervous system, what we call subluxation. That interference blocks communication between the brain and the body, and when communication breaks down, so does coordination. We often focus on specific areas during care. One of those areas is C1 or the atlas, which is kind of the boss of the central autonomic nervous system. This is where the brainstem sits, and stress here affects everything downstream. C2 or axis, this is like the connector, coordinator, and communicator of the nervous system. Now this area is crucial for proper signaling. The vagus nerve, the all the things nerve, the nerve that controls digestion, immune function, heart rate, inflammation, and so much more. T12 is kind of the sorting and warehousing region that affects the small intestines and immune processing. And S2, what we like to call the poop button, the region that affects elimination and bowel function. When we adjust these areas, we're not treating the ear infection or the asthma or the digestive issue directly, but what we are doing is restoring proper communication between the brain and the body. We're removing interference so the nervous system can coordinate proper immune responses. Where do most approaches get it wrong? Parents are told to manage symptoms, to treat ear infections, coughs, eczema, or allergies one at a time, but it's like trying to push a car with a parking brake on. You can push harder or add more helpers, but until you release the brake, the neurological stress, you're not really going anywhere. Many of today's kids are living in what we call the perfect storm. Prenatal stress, birth interventions, antibiotics, environmental toxins, poor nutrition, too much screen time, not enough movement, all piling on. One or two stressors a child can handle, but when they stack up, the nervous system gets overwhelmed, stuck in fight or flight, and that's when the chronic patterns begin. Their immune bucket gets smaller, their stress bucket overflows, and suddenly, even a simple cold sends them spiraling. That's why the order matters. You have to start with the foundation, which is the nervous system, and build from there. Parents, you're not doing anything wrong. You're trying the best with the information you've been given. The problem isn't your effort, it's the sequence. When you start by restoring the nervous system, everything else you've been doing finally clicks. The supplements start to support. The sleep improves. The digestion settles. The immune system strengthens. And the cycle of sickness finally breaks. At E320 Chiropractic, this is what we specialize in. Helping families build health from the inside out, starting with the nervous system. If you're ready to stop managing symptoms and start creating real, lasting health, we'd love to help your family take the next step. So give us a call to schedule your child's neurological scans, or send us a message to learn more about how neurologically focused chiropractic care can help your child thrive. Your child isn't broken, they're just stuck. And here is a way forward. Here at E320 Chiropractic, we're here to help you find it with hope, with answers, and with real lasting help.